I never had a romantic affair with Crystal Holloway, River Cruz, or whatever name she wanted to give you or the world. If I'm not mistaken, sir, she has a questionable past, okay? And if I can clarify that with you, she also has been arrested for fraud,
Judge, I want to move
breaking and entering and stuff like that. She is not a very good person, sir.
Well, Casey Anthony's father, there you heard it, clearly denying in court yesterday he had an affair with a volunteer searching for his granddaughter, Kaylee. We also heard dramatic testimony from the meter reader who found little Kaylee's body. Joining us this morning to break down the testimony and whether it helped or hurt the defense is defense attorney John Phillips. Good morning to you, John. Thanks for being here with us.
Thank you.
So let's start with George Anthony's testimony about allegedly having an affair with one of the volunteers. Why was that even allowed into the court transcripts?
It's all about bias, and what the state has to do is, or what the defense has to do is prove reasonable doubt. It's like your viewers saying, did I leave the stove on at home? Maybe I did. Let me go home and check. That's what they're trying to create, is a little bit of doubt. And by showing her father as a bad man, and by showing Roy Kronk as a bad man, that's what they're trying to do.
Okay, let's move on to Roy Kronk. He is the meter reader who thought he saw something suspicious in the woods, and it turned out to be, in fact, little Kaylee's body. He saw something in the woods back in August of 2008. Show us the timeline. Tell us the timeline of what happened that day.
Apparently, Roy, in August, he was doing a meter reading job and had been assigned that community, and he went into the woods to use the restroom, and of course the defense jumped all over that. How could you, how far away was the nearest gas station? And so they jumped on him on that, and then he saw what appeared to be, he said, a skull-like object, a white object, and it was about 20 to 30 feet away. They jumped on him on that. Why didn't you investigate further? He left, called the local county, and then another county, and then the tip line, and ultimately they sent an investigation out there. It took a while. Then the cops came and chewed him out.
Yeah, because apparently one of the police officers fell while looking and never saw anything, and then berated Kronk for saying, why did you bring me out here? There's nothing here. Fast forward a couple of months later into December of 2008. What happened that day when Roy Kronk went back out to that same place? That's
when they finally realized what they had. And according to some of the testimony and some of the off-the-record stuff, I've went through and gone through some of the stuff that may or may not be presented to the jury. Roy Kronk got royally berated, and there was a bit of a conspiracy that I'm sure the defense is going to focus more on. Again, that's how they win these cases. But there was more of a conspiracy about, hey, Roy said there was some comment about a lottery ticket and winning the $25,000 to $50,000 claim, and in other words, because he had found the body, they alleged that he called his son and said, I'm going to be a rich man, but Roy Kronk said, I didn't say that. Exactly, and there's some inconsistency in some of the records, but the police said, you better act right, you better keep to the story, because otherwise you're going to look bad for withholding this information for 3 months. And he said, no, man, I reported this 3 times. So I think they tried to go after Roy, and in opening statement called him morally bankrupt. Said they were going to prove he was morally bankrupt. Well, they did not show that he was morally bankrupt. From everybody who listened to the testimony yesterday, including yourself at this point, he came away pretty much unscathed by Jose Baez's attempt to show him as this bankrupt individual. He did. There's a lot that doesn't add up. I don't think your viewers would necessarily go to the woods to do what he did, or be snooping around, there's just a lot of things that I'm from Alabama, we call it sketchy. There's a lot of sketchy stuff about Roy Kronk, but at the end of the day, it's not probable cause for any tampering or anything like that. Do you think this helped the defense yesterday? I don't think it did. They're going to make some points over the police conspiracy and the police cover-up, but overall, I think it was a prosecution day yesterday. Okay, and today the defense is expected to call a grief expert onto the stand. We will see how that pans out. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Still to come, it's a story that's really heartbreaking. A teen orphan. He survived a plane crash that killed his dad. The twist, it's his second plane crash in 8 years. The first crash he was in killed his mom and sister. We've got more on this devastating story. And it's considered one of the happiest days for many, payday. Now it's being considered the most morbid. A study that says you're more likely to die when you
get your check. Because you have the big one, because you see how small it is, right? First, after the break, there is a pretty good chance you'll see some showers today. What that means for your plans. Richard Nunn's got the details for you here on the local station.